back into Cougar Sports Saturday. Nate Slack here with Mitch Harper. And BYU recently just announced some new stadium upgrades to Lavell Edwards Stadium, Mitch.
Yeah, just moments ago.
I've been waiting for more upgrades. I think there's some things that the stadium just kind of lacks. I think the environment's great. I think the surrounding area is great. I think the mountains behind the stadium are fantastic. But when you pull up to the stadium, it kind of leaves a lot to be desired. You can tell it was a stadium built, 50 years ago, 60 years ago. We're getting to the point where it's almost 60 years old, that stadium, Mitch.
It's a good point. And these new announcements are not a surprise because BYU AD Brian Santiago hinted at these back at the Big 12 spring meetings in my conversation with him back in May. Because we were seeing some construction taking place on the stadium. And the upgrades, it's going to be a 2-year phase on some of these upgrades. So, one, there's a new locker room upgrade for BYU football. We talked about it last week with Reggie Frischnecht when he hopped on right after the first scrimmage inside Lavell Edwards Stadium. And the BYU home locker room at Lavell Edwards Stadium was renovated this offseason, providing the team with upgraded features and resources. Interesting wording. Including new lockers.
Timely. That's timely.
Technology, player amenities, and other improvements. Still, the day-to-day locker room is, of course, the student-athlete building, but now BYU's got a much-improved home locker room upgrade at the stadium because the old wood locker rooms are kind of a thing of the past, and they got a new white lockers with royal blue padded lockers or seats in those lockers, so that's a nice touch. They've also got a recruiting lounge, which is sponsored by one of their corporate sponsors, PAX. Located under the east stands, a newly constructed recruiting lounge will serve as a central hub for recruits and their families visiting Lavell Edwards Stadium for a BYU football game. The lounge will feature new seating, food, and beverage options and entertainment areas. That is noteworthy because if you ever go to a BYU game, that southeast corner, that entrance where the team locker room, just a little bit east of the locker room, there's that steps up to the east sideline. Right there to the right, there was like an open area that basically just had streamers, confetti, and balloons for the recruits. You're thinking, this has got to get better. And they use that space to now have a dedicated lounge for the recruits. So that's a welcomed addition.
Yeah, I like it. It's been interesting to see what changes has happened with the stadium over the past, I'll say 14 years, because I think 2012 is when they replaced the old scoreboards and put in the bigger ones. They replaced them again in 2019. But when they connected the upper bowl, that was a big upgrade, I thought. And we were on the tour. Remember that was like early 2019, early part of fall camp.
Mezzanine.
Yes, the mezzanine, where they take us around and they were kind of talking about what they envisioned with it. Some of the stuff they talked about, they actually haven't really done because they wanted to have like food trucks up there. They haven't done that, but yeah, I think the upgrades are welcome. It'll make the stadium look nicer. I just wish it was something that more fans would be able to enjoy. I think the corporate sponsors will really like this, but that's already a select few who I feel like have been kind of catered to with recent expansions. But I digress. So I understand that you've got to make the corporate sponsors happy because that's where a bulk of the money is coming from. But at the same time, you're still begging fans to donate more to Cougar Club and more stuff that we'll be talking about later on in the show. But I'm not against this at all.
And there's also going to be a hospitality area and hosting space just off the upper concourse platform between the west and north stands, under the west stands. I think that was is that the same spot as the Champions Terrace? No, it's actually below that. So they got that Champions Terrace in the northwest corner that's got that white banner on top. Below that is now a area being called Lavell's Lounge, sponsored by Qualtrics. I don't know how I feel about that, Nate, using Lavell's name for that, for like a corporate sponsor thing.
I wonder how Lavell would think about that.
I don't know if I like that. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that personally, but I digress. They say that the Lavell's Lounge, this space is sponsored by Qualitrix and replaces Gridiron Grill West and will provide an updated setting for BYU Athletics guests and corporate partners. Lavell's Lounge will feature an expanded concessions menu with new seating, TVs, decor, and other amenities. Maybe the most notable addition, though, is coming in 2027. And if you've been seeing it, still under construction right now. It's in the northwest corner of the stadium. Extensive construction took place over the past several months in the northwest portion of the stadium where the previous infrastructure connecting the west and north stands was removed and rebuilt. Now they're going to have a future PAX pavilion there. And by looking at the mock-up, the mezzanine is gone in that area. And it is gone as of right now at LES, but it's going to be like a 2-level PAX Premium Club. Interesting, that design and mock-up. It's going to be right next, pressed up against the walkway, heading up to the south, to the north end zone. Again, this is all just kind of corporate sponsor stuff. There's nothing really being upgraded for this, the fan that's donating to Cougar Club getting tickets, but if you're a corporate sponsor, this is some pretty cool upgrades.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing about the this edition is so you'll have permanent fixtures in the gaps, and people always talk about filling in the bowl and having more space for the crowd. I don't see that happening anytime soon, if ever, because you got BYU TV in the southwest corner. They've got their little permanent fixture. Now you'll have the PAX Premium Club on the northwest side. On the northeast side, you have the corporate sponsors in that gap. So you've got 3 of the 4 gaps are permanent fixtures where you won't have any possibility to possibly expand LES. But
Yeah,
but personally, I think that's fine. I'm not a really big fan of like filling in the gaps because we always talk about expanding LES. I'm kind of in the camp against expansion.
yeah. Because you can get sold-out crowds, guaranteed. I want capacity crowds.
Yes.
Because at some point you will have a dip season, and you won't have always the capacity crowds. So, I know that BYU confidently in the Big 12 will get 63+ every game.
Yeah.
And keep it that way.
Yep.
Let's take a break. We can hit on this more. Again, new stadium upgrades coming to Lavell Edwards Stadium. We'll also hit on the game day experiences that are being rolled out for fans right here on Cougar Sports Saturday.